When Bharat became a republic, it gave universal adult franchise to all its citizens, which means in independent India, men and women got the right to vote exactly at the same point of time, unlike America, UK, or even Australia, where women got the right to vote much later. India's former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was only the second female Prime Minister anywhere in the world after Sri Lanka's Bandara Naike. And it is a matter of immense pride for all Indians and people of Indian origin that today the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, is one of the first female heads of states belonging to the tribal community anywhere in the world. And these milestones cannot be taken for granted. If you consider some of the schemes that the Indian government has implemented, they are absolutely unprecedented in their sheer scale. If you look at a scheme like the Jan Dhan Yojana, which was started around 10 years ago, it's a scheme for financial inclusion so that a large number of people have bank accounts. Today, over 300 million women have bank accounts in India. That is more than 10 times the population of Australia. Then you have the Mudra Yojana. This is a scheme which was started in 2015 so that people who wanted to start their own businesses, they could borrow small amounts of money without giving a collateral. A staggering 69% of Mudra Yojana beneficiaries are women. Then there are several schemes that have been started by the government of India specifically for women. So on one end you have a scheme like the Mahila Coir Yojana. This is a scheme where women are trained in coir spinning. Coir is a kind of coconut fiber, and they are trained in coir spinning, and then they're encouraged to put up their own units under the Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Scheme. On the other end, you have the Women's Scientist Scheme. Under this scheme is primarily for women who have, women scientists and technologists who have taken a break in their career but want to come back into the mainstream. So this is a scheme for them. There are fellowships and grants that are available. Then there are schemes for women from minority communities and from socially disadvantaged communities. Even in terms of laws, in 2017, the Government of India amended the Maternity Beneficiary Act to increase paid maternity leave from 12 weeks to 26 weeks for the first two children. In comparison, in Australia, paid maternity leave is only 18 weeks. India has also constituted fast-track courts for rapes and sexual offences to make India safer for women. When Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister, he started the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, which is Educate the Girl Child, Save the Girl Child campaign, because India's sex ratio at birth at that time was pretty skewed. It is very heartening to know that a decade down the line, the figures are improving and India is moving towards normalization in this aspect. So there are the schemes and the programs and the laws. There are so many numbers that it's difficult to speak about all of them. Even if we look at the figures, they are staggering. India has one of the highest percentage of women STEM graduates. It's around 43%. India has the highest number of female pilots in the world. That's around 15%. In comparison, Australia has 7.5% female pilots. Even if you look at startups, India has the second highest funding, all-time funding for women-led startups only after the US. Then if you look at India's space missions, women have been heavily involved in those missions, in those very successful missions. In fact, even today, the director of the Indian Institute of Astrophysics is a woman, Professor Annapurni Subramaniam. But it's not just women of certain communities, certain backgrounds, it's across the board. For instance, the project director of India's solar mission, Aditya L1, is Nigar Shahji, who is Muslim. While one of India's most famous scientists, the missile woman of India, who was a project director of Agni 4 missile, is a Christian, Dr. Tessie Thomas. So one can see that progress has been made across the board. Of course, we have miles to go before we sleep. Because India is the most populous country in the world. It's an ancient land which has seen the wounds of time. So change will not come overnight. But nevertheless, we have to appreciate the positive steps that are being taken because societies don't always move backwards. because societies don't always move forwards, they can also move backwards. So that's why it's important to appreciate the positive steps that are taken so that we can build on them and make a brighter future. I would like to end by quoting a verse from the ancient Hindu text, the Rig Ved. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha, which means to the Devi, to the divine feminine that resides in all of us as Shakti, as power and strength. Salutations to her again and again. Thank you.